so that your name on the council.
What it looks like there. Keep getting tempted to, like mute me or something. Of course, that happens when I switch over to my laptop. Fine. Can't touch the screen. Good evening. We welcome you to the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. This meeting is being held electronically, so we will. Okay. Welcome to the regular meeting of West Valley City Council. This meeting is being held electronically. As per requirement, we will make a statement regarding our electronic meeting. Pursuant to Utah Code, West Valley City has determined that this meeting will be held electronically without an anchor location given the ongoing novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. West Valley City has determined the pandemic presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at an anchor location. This meeting will be held electronically. Members of the press and public are invited to view this meeting live on YouTube at www.youtube.com/user/WVCTV. To participate in the public comment period or scheduled public hearings, please visit www.wvc-ut.gov/public comment or contact the city recorder. Thank you. Next, we have our Inside the City video that we will hear.
I think it's surprising the amount of people that just absolutely fail to yield. I think that's the most surprising thing. That on average, we're probably around 100 violations per operation. Hi, good morning. The traffic unit is doing a pedestrian safety operation to educate the drivers that are out here on the roads, particularly after COVID. There's more people on the road, schools reopening, and particularly the school crosswalks. We focus on those because of the vulnerable users. School crosswalks are different because the pedestrian has the entire width of the road. From the time they step off, they have both lanes, all lanes, until they're all the way across the road. We use plainclothes officers to act as just normal citizens that would be using the crosswalk. And they will enter the crosswalk, and if there is a violation, then a marked unit will go and do enforcement with that violator. So we set up our operations to give the benefit of the doubt to the driver. That we put a cone on either side of that crosswalk at a distance that's commensurate to the speed of that road, that allows the driver to recognize there's somebody in the crosswalk and come to a complete stop, and then we give them an additional amount of distance to make sure that our plainclothes officers are safe and that they have plenty of time.
Talk about what we've seen so far this year in West Valley City as far as accidents involving pedestrians.
So far this year we've had 14, and that includes parking lots, streets, and even people hit in crosswalks. We didn't wait for the numbers to climb to do operations. We've been doing them all year long. It's something that we focus on. I think this is number 6 just this year. Slow down, pay attention, be courteous. Those things right there would help a lot.
That enforcement was very interesting. When I heard it on the news, I discovered that I wasn't even aware of the laws regarding crosswalks. The railroad tie stripes are a school crosswalk and they have the whole street. All others, then it's just a lane away, you know. You can actually make a right-hand turn when they're on the other side of the road. So at least I found that out before I made a mistake and broke the law.
So Mayor,
Yes, sir.
one easy way to remember it for our family is elsewhere in the world, they're called zebra crossings, a zebra crossing. So
Oh,
it has the stripes. So zebra crossings are from curb to curb. And without the stripes, you just have to be the one lane away. So that's an easy way to kind of think of the difference between the two.
well, see, where I grew up, I didn't have any zebras, but we did have railroad ties. So, railroads. Special recognition, I believe in our public comment period, we'll recognize Representative Elizabeth Waite, I believe, is joining us this evening. And so we'll get to them, to her and others in those comments in just a moment, but we'll take care of our minutes first, our minutes of April 6th.
I would move for approval of the April 6th, March 23rd. Mine says March 23rd, but
Oh, wait a minute.
anyway, the minutes from March 23rd. Unless I'm on the wrong agenda, sir. I'm sorry. So
Try April 6th.
April 6th will work and I will change my agenda.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Properly before us. Without objection, then the minutes will be approved. Hearing no objection, the minutes are approved unanimously. Now we'll go to our public comment period and we'll begin. We should recognize, well, let's see, Nicole, will you bring on Representative Wade?
Hi, sir. Yes, we have 3 people speaking tonight, and the first is Representative Elizabeth Waite.
Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you so much. It's nice to see all of you even this way. And I don't know, I was prepared to do this because I know we usually do this in council meetings, introduce ourselves and give our address. Is that part of the protocol still?
Technically, yes.
Okay, so I am Elizabeth Waite. I live at 3489 Ashby Cove. And again, thank you for the time to speak tonight. I wanted to speak about ranked choice voting. I'm excited about this method of voting and to see the possibility of West Valley City participating in the pilot program for that. I have become interested in ranked choice voting as an option. And then I started hearing some concerns about it. So I've been doing a fair bit of research and even a deep dive. And then I heard some more concerns and did some more research and found out that some things that we've heard to be concerned about have actually been investigated and resolved to the point that I'm not concerned about them anymore. What I have learned and have reconfirmed and reconfirmed are that ranked choice voting is typically less expensive because because it's also called instant runoff election, it doesn't involve a primary election. All of the candidates run in one election because with the ranking, everybody votes for puts all of the candidates in the order that they want to see, their most favorite ranked top and their second and third choices. And then the process accounts for all of that ranking so that it literally eliminates the need for a primary election. Another thing that it does that's been noted even recently in the Deseret News is that it creates a lot more civil dialogue among all of the candidates because the candidates know that it's not a black and white, it's not a one or the other, it's ranked choice. They know that all of the candidates will be considered. They know that they're all being looked at, that they're not being looked at in order to not choose them. They're all being looked at in order to rank choose them. And it makes them it makes the candidates more civil, and the voting population gets to see that. And I'm going to stop for a second because I didn't take note of how much time I need to make sure I stay within.
Oh,
Are you
few more minutes.
2 more minutes? Okay, good.
2 or 3. We'll be very flexible with our state
Okay, or
representative.
somebody give me a T sign so I know when I need to wind down here. I don't have a lot more to say, and thank you for smiling, Mayor. The other thing that people become aware of is that every single vote gets counted, even in this ranked system. So one of the things that we saw in the primary election, where that was used for the presidential primaries in 2020, was by the time the primary elections, and I think this happened in the gubernatorial primary election last year in Utah, by the time the election was actually held, where only one candidate came out and it wasn't a ranked system, there had been candidates drop out of the race after people had started to vote. So people voted and then realized that their votes couldn't even be counted because the candidate was no longer among those. With ranked choice voting, because the votes are all there, the next ranked vote gets moved into the count. So everybody, all of the voters know that their votes get counted somewhere in some way, because of the way that the voting system works. It's a real encouragement for people to vote. It shows all of the voters, the candidates. It promotes, and again, it promotes civility and positive campaigning among the candidates. And according to the document that I saw in the financial explanation in the documents that I saw last week, it would cost, I think, around $40,000 less to run one ranked choice vote election on election day. And when I asked the question, so when would that election take place, that one count, it takes place on election day, typically. All of the candidates go to that point. The ranked choice vote is conducted, and then it doesn't involve a primary. So it doesn't involve two sets of counting. So in the estimate that the county clerk provided, it would cost about $40,000 less than is even, maybe not quite that much with the amount that West Valley City set as their budget, but it's still substantially less than what the top budget amount is. And that concludes my comments. I am going to be reaching out to high school students to help them understand what this is more, because I'd like them to understand and even come and speak to you. I'm really excited about our city being involved. I know Salt Lake City is going to be involved, and that's another large city. I don't see that West Valley City has anything to lose by being a large city involved and providing information for us and providing information in the pilot. I think it's a good opportunity for us to step up and provide data for the pilot program. Okay, now I'll stop. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And in case anyone was timing, yes, we traditionally do give our elected representatives extra time. Normally they aren't in public comment. We actually treat them separately, but with Zoom, it's easier to do that all together. And I'll make a couple of comments on that, but we'll hear from the other two people who are here ready. Nicole?
Mayor, next we have Jim Visock.
Good evening, Mayor. at least I got back in the internet out here. Once again, every council meeting, it seems to go down. I was also at the 7-Eleven grand opening today, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of backstory. This is not a corporate store. This is a family-owned 7-Eleven. The dad owns another one down the street on 3500, and he put this one together for his son. And the expression on their face when Councilwoman Lang showed up, they were so happy. And even afterwards, when she had to leave, even the, I'll call them bigwigs of 7-Eleven that were there, they were surprised that Councilwoman Lang took her valuable time to come out. And like I said, the whole family was there. They're a small family, and it's great to see families investing in West Valley City. I'm going to speak real quick since I got time, and I might get cut off on your public comments on the next two, so I don't have to. The first two, one of them, it should be approved. There's no reason not. The second one, you guys are just cleaning up the words. On the third one, though, hopefully you guys vote for this. This is a person that's trying to do it right, even though the way they went through it, having code enforcement, come after their business and stuff like this. But it looks like now they're trying to do it right. Once again, it's a business. We're trying to encourage those to stay in West Valley City. Now I don't have to speak in the next part. Stay safe, stay strong, and it's good seeing you guys all.
Thank you. And the next one.
Mayor, next we have Mike Rigdon.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello. Again, my comments is directed between the 4100 South Highway, and it's mostly directed between the 4400 West and the 5400 West, eastbound and westbound through this particular area. We've talked about every life is important. And I don't know how to emphasize that. We can't emphasize that enough. I have occasion to walk down this particular area, and I feel very claustrophobic when there is a sidewalk on the side of a highway. And I don't understand why you even build a sidewalk and on the street. It makes no sense, because a pedestrian can't walk in between this area, and a bicycle can't ride a bike in between this area without running onto traffic lanes. So my suggestion, of course, is before you guys go through and put your rubber stamp on everything that you do, I would really advise looking at the speed limit and reduce the speed limit in this particular area. Bring it down to 35. I don't think we need to stay with the status quo of 40. And I'd really like to bring it down. Now, another thing I'd like to bring out is the police department does these blitz, and I have occasion to walk dog, and I use the city park to do that. And in doing that, I cross 3100 South over by, I think, one of the elementaries by the fitness center. And then, because I want to see how many people really do watch people trying to cross. Now, I don't look like a police officer by any means, because I have a dog, but I can go up to the middle or go a little bit further west and utilize that button that flashes the yellow lights. And I'm surprised at how many people will not stop for me to cross. But it's an interesting thought that I'm glad that the city is taking this kind of promotion to protect its citizens that are walking and using the sidewalk. The other thing I've noticed, and this is very troublesome to me, and that is exhibition driving in the city. Now, Mayor, exhibition driving back when me and you were kids is when you'd rev up your engine and go down State Street. But nowadays, it seems like every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a super fast Subaru, a super fast Hellcat, a super performance Stingray, and it's commonplace. But the problem that I'm hearing is when I'm walking a dog and I'm going down, just quietly walking, and hear the rev of engines, you've got to know. I asked the question, when was the last time a West Valley City officer wrote a ticket on exhibition driving? And you know, I got to tell you, this is a life here, and these people have no clue how much power they got underneath the hood. Well, sure they do. They can go 70, 80 miles an hour in first gear and then shift it. And then they claim they're going through the gears like a motorcycle, like the bullet bikes. It is crazy that something isn't done to stop this type of exhibition driving going on. And maybe the city could start a blitz on these types of moving violations that are going on, because I hear it all the time. I really do. And I really appreciate your time. Every life is important, even on 4100 highway. Thank you.
Thank you. You timed it just right. With that, I believe that's everyone that was on the line to speak to us. And so we'll close the public portion of that. Mr. Pyle, any comments? As our
No
city
comments, sir.
manager?
Thank you.
Council members? I think I'll mention two things. They're not real critical, just kind of in passing. Representative Waite mentioned that I smiled, and yeah, that is unusual. I don't smile much. I'm a CPA, so everything's serious. And then she mentioned several times about being civil. And then I thought, well, then why did they call it the Civil War? It didn't seem to be very civil, but kind of like today, I guess, our civil dialogue. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to serious business. We'll begin with our first item, which will be, we have several public hearings tonight. We'll begin with application SV-1 2021 filed by Ken Milne. This is requesting a street vacation at 6655 West at Fulner Drive, which is at 3635 South. And we'll consider ordinance 21-13 in conjunction with this. This was a stub street where two homes were built on that street, and the stub street went to a farmland area, which was scheduled to eventually become a subdivision. And this was to be a connecting street. As it turns out, once the subdivisions got built and designed, that there was no longer a need for this stub street. And so they arranged with the two homeowners there that they will take over that land, and the developer is going to remove the street, curb and gutter, and landscape it. So works out well. So we're going to vacate that particular little street, one house long. And so that's the issue. Anyone else want to add anything before we, do we have anyone for public comment on this, Ms. Kamick?
Mayor, we do have the applicant here, but he only wishes to speak if the council has any questions.
Any questions, council members? Don't see anyone and don't hear anyone. So I think this is pretty straightforward. So we'll close the public comment portion then and come back to the council for any action they would like to take.
Mayor, I move for approval of ordinance 21-13.
Second.
Hearing no further comments, we'll turn to our city recorder for the roll call vote.
Councilman Fitty Samanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we go to our public hearing for application ZT-1 2021, which we'll consider in conjunction with that ordinance 21-14. This is filed by our city. It's a change to our residential landscaping and recreation space standards. And in there, I know we modified a little bit about the number of trees in a development apartment complex, also separating. It's not common, but when a development includes townhomes and apartments, they would have to meet the requirements for either townhomes where the townhomes are and for the apartment complex for it, since they weren't exactly the same. And I know I'm missing some other items in there. Oh, and then we defined what our recreational space was, clarified that. And so with that introduction, but if any of the other council members have something they want to highlight, please do so now. Not hearing anything, then we'll turn to our city recorder. Is there anyone speaking to this?
No, sir.
No public input. So then we'll close the public input. We'll bring it back to the council for any further discussion or action.
Move to approve ordinance 21-14.
Second.
Okay, it's properly before us and not hearing any further comments. We'll go to our city recorder to do the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Fitty Samanu.
Aye.
Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And then our third public hearing. This is application Z-1-2021 filed by Emmanuel and Leticia Moreno. This is for a zone change on from agricultural to manufacturing. This is at 7041 and 7055 West Gates Avenue, two pieces of property there. We'll consider ordinance 21-15 for the zone change and resolution 21-46 for the development agreement. These pieces of property out on West Gates Avenue is in an area that really for manufacturing zoning is conducive to that, given what's happening around it there. So seems to be a reasonable change, and they're requesting to make that change. With that introduction, any further comments from council members before we open the public comment? Hearing none, then we'll turn to our recorder for opening the public comment if anyone's online.
There is not, sir.
No one online, so we'll close the public comment, bring it back to the council for any further comments or action.
Move for approval of ordinance 21-15.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitty Samanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
No.
Councilwoman Lang.
You're muted.
No.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
Thank you. We still have a resolution to consider, the development agreement.
Move for approval of resolution 21-46.
Seconds.
Before us, any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have resolution 21-47. This is the city entering into a development agreement with Sunrise Baptist Church at 3550 South 4400 West, approximately 5 acres of land. State law changed some of the requirements in conjunction with development agreements, et cetera. This mutually entered into agreement between the Sunrise Baptist Church and the city, sets it up for what needs to perhaps happen in the future. With that introduction then, to the council.
I'd move for approval of resolution 21-47.
Second?
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we have resolution 21-48. This is an interlocal agreement between our city and the county for the elections division, specifically for election services for the 2021 primary and general municipal elections. Obviously, this is an election year for cities. And so, as has been tradition in the past, the county does all of this work because they have the equipment, all of the efforts for polling places, required individuals to man the polling places, notices, ballots, everything for the county, not to exceed a budget of $106,830. And if it comes in less, we will get that for less. So we want to make sure that's taken care of ahead of time. Currently, we are not scheduled, although there were comments made about ranked choice voting. The city is not doing that this year. We're entering into this agreement now. So with that introduction then to the council.
Mayor, I move for approval of resolution 21-48.
Second.
Properly before us. Hearing no further comments, we'll turn to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have resolution 21-49. This is the authorization to procure architectural services from EDA Architects for for the design of the Utah Veterans Memorial Park. This particular issue is, if I can get my computer froze up. There we go. Is for the design of that has been discussed previously, not to exceed $149,500, which will be designed for the available funding and in conjunction with the design that has been shown to the council already. So with that introduction, any further comments from the council or action on this item?
Mayor, I move for approval of resolution 21-49.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have Resolution 21-50. This is to approve a federal aid agreement between our city and Udot for the design and construction of the Crosstown Trail. This is for funding for a project between 2700 West to Bangerter Highway. These funds come from the Federal Transportation Alternatives Program. The impact for the city is for $115,759, and the total work will be $600,000, but our share is $115,000. And so with that, that will start to move forward with an environmental study and move forward from there. With that introduction then to the council.
I move for approval of resolution 21-50.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 21-51 to approve the purchase of wetland mitigation credits from Machine Lake Wetland Mitigation Bank. This is a federal program. The city will be spending $55,250, where we do some development on lands currently considered wetlands that we can trade those for setting up wetlands in other areas. And we have a credit there, but we need to make this payment, and we're required by the Corps of Engineers, Army Corps of Engineers, a 2-to-1 ratio. In other words, for giving up 1 acre, we would have to get 2 acres or 2 credits, actually is the correct term, for this transfer of watershed. So with that introduction, this is for development there out on, 2540, isn't it? South, in that general area, the road that turns there and goes north to our tie-in. With that introduction into the council.
I move to
Mayor, I
approve
would-
resolution 21-51.
I'll second.
Jinx.
Okay, properly before us and hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have Resolution 21-52. This is a proposal to approve a public roadway easement, a slope easement, and temporary construction access between the city and Rocky Mountain Power roadway facilities. This is conjunction with the Bigley Road, I think I get that right, extension, approximately 2250 south. With Rocky Mountain Power, we needed some access there, and along with Rocky Mountain Power in order to finish up this project. And of course, the temporary construction access so that we can complete that road work there. With that introduction then to the council.
Move for approval of resolution 21-52.
Second.
Property before us, hearing no further comments to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. That completes our agenda items. There is no need for a closed session. We appreciate your working with us. We had more items tonight on our agenda, but we got through them. And just a reminder for those listening in, yes, we do discuss these in more detail. We do that in our study meeting the week before. So the items we discussed earlier in our study meeting tonight will be on our agenda in our next meeting. With that, then, thank you all, and a final motion to close.
Motion to adjourn.
Without objection, then, we will stand adjourned. Excuse me. Losing my